Hello and welcome to Battle Streams in Middle-earth, and welcome to Damian's hobby vlog number 21. Oh yes, this is the start of my hobbying proper for the year. So welcome to Battle Streams. If you're new here, please click that subscribe link. We are a channel that is trying to help people clear the backlog of models, and we do that primarily in two ways. One, with live streams every 2 weeks. We can join us and just paint along to any model just for the fun of it on the chosen theme. And two, I kind of document my hobby journey throughout the year as I try and clear my backlog. So at the start of the year, I am now very excited about plunging into some new models. So hopefully you've watched my last hobby vlog, which is the one where I set out my hobby goals for the year, essentially, not just in the big broad cosmic sense that I'm always trying to reduce my backlog, but also in terms of what I was going to paint throughout the year. And I definitely, as memory serves, I kind of vaguely pointed out what I was going to paint, maybe not entirely specifically about the models I was going to be painting, but in that video I would have laid out that the kind of first 2 months of the year were going to be a really cool and exciting combination of what I wanted to paint and BSIME coming together for the first time ever. So the models that we're painting on the streams for the next sort of 2 months, next 4 streams, are all going to be kind of Gondor themed, and I'm going to be painting some Gondor for that. But also I am finally going to be able to hopefully take my BSIME Gondor army to war, and I'll be doing that at the GT. So the GT is on the, I can't remember, mid-February? What date is it? It's on Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 19th of February. And so what I'm going to be doing is painting up a load of fun Gondor stuff for the first 2 months of the year, and then trying to figure out if I can take an army to the GT, essentially. And so that's what I kind of laid out. And for any of you who are new here or haven't been following, the way my BSIME Gondor army works is just, it's exclusively made of backlog models that I've painted on the streams. So I didn't have any of it before we started doing battle streams, and whenever we get to a Gondor week in battle streams, or a week where I don't have the right model to paint, I paint something for this Gondor army. And so I've been doing this slow grow kind of Gondor army over the last couple of years, which is really good fun, and with absolutely no pressure. And so I guess for the first time ever, there's a teensy bit of pressure on my BSIME Gondor army, because I do have something to aim for. I'm hoping to take it to a tournament, so I do need to do some painting. But the other side of that is that I don't have anything else to paint. So normally I'm painting models for battle streams when the streams come around, but I'm also working on something else for my main project or my next event or whatever. And this time they're the same. Merge, where the next tournament I'm going to, I'm taking Gondor. So the models I'm painting on my stream are Gondor, and the models I'm painting towards a deadline of Gondor. So it's all coming up Gondor, which is kind of lovely. So what we're getting stuck into, as I believe you can hopefully see in the title, I'm calling this one The Road to the GT Part 1, and this is going to cover January. So I think, again, I set out in my hobby goals video that from the start of the year we had 7 weeks until the GT, and I've kind of blocked out, I think I did it in that first video, but I'm just I'm trying not to second guess myself but I blocked out the kind of different bits I wanted to do every week. And so the first one I wanted to do was finish Faramir. I think I started painting my mounted Faramir on a stream back in July, but in classic BSIME Gondor army set style, because he didn't get finished, he just got left, and it didn't matter, no pressure, he just got left. But he was the first thing that I had to kind of paint this year. And as I said, 7 weeks to the GT, starting from about Monday the 2nd of January, I think. Let me have a look. Yeah, Monday the 2nd of January. And what I've basically done is assign a set of painting to every week. And my hope is just that keeps me motivated and keeps me painting. And Faramir was the first of those. And I'm delighted to say I have now finished Faramir, which I'm very excited about. So what I'm going to do is take you over to the desk now and show you Faramir. Okay, so here is my finished Faramir, first model of 2023 that I've painted. I can't remember how much of this guy you've actually seen before, but I was painting him on a stream ages ago. and I've since I returned to him, I gave him a bit of a loadout change. So I swapped his arm for a Knight of Minas Tirith. So he had a lance because I wanted to give him a lance in his war gear, and I gave him a shield from a Knight of Minas Tirith as well. So he's just had a bit of a kind of war gear upgrade, and then he's just been painted really, really simply. I've deliberately tried to mark him out from the knights. The knights are coming up, and I know I wanted to do the knights dark horses because I think they'll be simpler, and I'm going to do them grey pennants. So I've given him a white pennant and a kind of paler brown horse because he's he looks very, very similar to a knight, doesn't he? Let's be honest. And so I just want a way of my opponents being able, and me to be honest, being able to identify him on the table. So a couple of little colour differences there should help with that. But overall, I was pretty happy with him. His face is alright. I didn't spend too long on it. He just pushed him a little further than I normally do my Minas Tirith stuff. Maybe one extra highlight and all the bits. Came out quite nicely. The horse is basically, I can't remember exactly what I did, but it's a Steel Legion drab kind of base, and then shaded and highlighted back up and that sort of thing. But he turned out alright, I think. But yeah, he's cool. He's going to be a cool little. The very first Gondor model I painted for this BSIME army was Faramir on foot, and it's nice to have a mounted version now. Ready to spear some stuff with +1 to wound from the lance. So there we go. There is Faramir, my first model of the year. I'm ready to lead my BSIME Gondor army. How exciting! So there we go, my first completed model of 2023. Whoop-woo, it's Faramir mounted, which is cool. He's fine, not blown away by him, but perfectly happy with that as a BSIME model to kind of go alongside my Faramir on foot and kind of lead my Gondor armies to war. He's actually currently the only Gondor hero I've actually got painted. I've been just working on warriors, and I've now already got too many warriors for him to lead, and I'm going to be painting up some more warriors next, so I will need some more heroes. I do have a Denethor painted. The only Gondor art model I had painted before that was Denethor, and then I've also got things like King Elisar and Gandalf the White, but they're not kind of what I think of as Gondor heroes. They're the Fellowship celebrities almost. But so I've got opportunities there, but who knows? I don't know what the actual army I'm taking to the GT is. It might well be Elisar and Denethor and Faramir and Gandalf the White and no warriors because I don't get anything painted. But who knows? So there we go. Faramir is done, and he was meant to be week 1 of the year. But spoilers, everyone, it's the 10th of January. So we're here on Tuesday the 10th of January at the moment. And my hope was that he would be done by last Friday. And to get him done that first week, but I didn't quite manage it. But that's all right. We've got a bit of time, so we're behind already. But it's cool. So what I now have is it 5.5 weeks, I think, to the GT. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5.5 weeks, and the half is because it's currently Tuesday and I'm going to the GT on a Friday. Okay, so. Over these next 5.5 weeks, I basically need to paint something every week, and this vlog is going to be looking at January. So in January, I now have 2.5 weeks, basically. 2.5 weeks left in January, and that's what this vlog is going to cover. And we're going to set out now what I'm going to try and get painted in that time. So first things first, I'm going to jump in with these beauties. Warriors of Minas Tirith. You can see that they've currently been sprayed Ledge Belcher. I have 6 of these bad boys. I owe my BSIME Gondor army these guys. They were meant to be painted last year. I talked about it in my review of the year, saying these were the 12 models I missed out on that stopped me reducing my backlog by 5% as I hoped. But I have 6 of them now on the painting handles, and that's what I'm going to start on. You will, I'm trying to work out how time works here, but you will have probably, by the time you see this, you will have seen a stream in which I was working on those. There's only 6 of them, which means they shouldn't be too long, and they are quite quick to paint. I will be following Steve's guide on Top Table Gaming, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into them, and hopefully they won't take too long. Now my crazy hope is that I've got 3 batches of things to paint in 2.5 weeks. My crazy hope is that they're the quick thing I can do to kind of make up some time. So, as at the time of recording, we're planning on streaming on Friday the 13th. So my hope is that a few evenings this week, maybe I could get them finished. Maybe I can get them finished by Sunday, which means I've got 2 weeks to do the other batches. So we'll see what happens on that. But I'll be following their process nicely throughout the stream. So yeah, 6 Warriors of Minas Tirith first. Next up, I have these bad boys. Let's see what we need for these. Where's we going? There we go. That's looking pretty good. Oh, that's got thumbnail written all over it, hasn't it? Yeah, see if that's on the thumbnail. But these bad boys are Rangers of Gondor, and these are the ones from the starter set. So these are from my Battle of Skillis starter set, and I got them. And I'm so excited about these. I'm sure I'll talk about it more when I actually start painting them. But I love these. I didn't have any of these. I know they're, what, 15 years old, but to me these are brand new. I've never had Rangers of Middle Earth, so getting them out and getting the sprue kind of cleaned up and actually looking at them and playing with them for the first time, it felt like brand new models to me. So to all those detractors saying there's no new models in the starter set, yeah, there are. But yeah, that's been one of the joys of battle streams for me, kind of getting to grips with kind of old plastic sprues that I've never seen. So I've got 12 here. That's the full sprue. I'm going to do 8 of them, so I don't go mad. And I mean, they've got quite a lot of detail. They've got quivers, which are always infuriating to paint, and they've got little bits of strapping. So 8 of these in a week seems optimistic potentially. But that's going to be the second week. I'm going to try and get 8 of them done. But I am genuinely really looking forward to it, and I really hope that I enjoy it, and that it doesn't become too laborious. But yeah, so I'm going to try and get those done. And then the last batch is these guys. Knights of Minas Tirith. As you can see, I've got 3 knights and a banner bearer. One of the lances is snapped off, but it's just there, so I just need to do a bit of repair on that. But yeah, 3 Knights of Minas Tirith and the banner bearer. Now these guys, and some of you may be interested, but I know one person who will hopefully be watching and might be interested. These were my Secret Santa Knights that came from Scott Newman for Secret Santa 2021. Scott sent me an awesome Gondor package. That include the Osgiliath Vets, which have now been painted, a whole box of 6 Knights which have not been painted, and these 4 guys. So these are going under the brush, which is really exciting. And then what's wonderful is Lewis, spoilers, I know, my Secret Santa this year sent me more Gondor stuff. So what's really good fun is my BSIME Gondor army seems to be being topped up every year by Secret Santa, which is mega. So I'm going to get these guys done. So I've got a bit of cavalry, that'll be good fun. And everyone hates painting horses, but I'm just hopeful maybe that 4 horses won't be too repellent to paint. So that's the last batch, 4 cavalry guys. And by the time I get to them, I don't quite know the timing, but you might recognise that this guy here with the banner is coming up in a battle streams in a few issues time. So we get that mounted banner bearer, so he's all ready to go. So hopefully it'll all work out. I'm actually finishing him off or painting him during that stream, which would be mega. So there we go. Those are my 3 batches. So it's a lot of models. It's definitely a lot of models by my standards. It would be what, 14, it'd be 18 models to paint for the month, which is pretty good for me if I manage that. And it feels like a lot to do, but I'm in a really good place at the moment with hobby, and I've got a bit of flexibility at work in January before term starts again, so there's potential for things to be a little less stressful with my work life, which can help. But I'm really kind of looking forward to this, and hopefully I'll be getting stuck in. My only slight caveat on this is these guys. Anyone who's been watching battle streams knows that the whole joy of this kind of clearing your backlog stuff comes from not really caring how these models turn up. They're just to be cleared. And when I painted my first 12 warriors last year, the year before last, I can't remember when I did it, they actually came out far better than I hoped, and I put a little more time into them. And then I painted my 6 Osgiliath Vets last year, and I ended up really enjoying them and thinking, oh, I just put a few more highlights on them. And so I've actually got to this weird place where, whilst this is still kind of BSIME, let's just clear them from the backlog, I'm actually putting a little more time into these models than I normally would, perhaps, for BSIME models. So there'll probably be an extra layer of highlights on everything. Now, I'm not going as far as like my Dale models. I'm still not painting these to the best of my ability. It is still going to be a fun, quick, easy army to get the models up. But I'm definitely, having worked on my little Faramir, having worked on the Osgiliath Vets and looked at some of these models, I definitely wanted to give them just a little more attention than those kind of Moria Goblins and Mordor Orcs that I speed painted on BSIME. So that might you know, it should mean that the army looks better in the long run, but it might just mean that things take a little bit longer. But we'll see. So there we go. That's the goal. And then hopefully this vlog will end at the end of January in sort of, what is that, it was 2.5 weeks time. And because it ends at the end of January, I will then be able to give you my first kind of report from the year of how many models I bought, how many models I painted, and whether or not we're on track to clear that backlog. So yeah, that's the goal. Fingers crossed. It's actually the end of January is 3 weeks today, to be fair. So Tuesday the 31st of January. So maybe that should be the goal. In 3 weeks today, can we get all of those models painted? I'm going to get stuck in now, and we'll see. So here are my 6 Warriors of Minas Tirith ready to face the brush. I just want to kind of pick these up. Most people, of course, know these models like the back of their hand, but I didn't until I got stuck into them on battle streams. They're not a sprue that had ever interested me, but I have now painted 12 of these before, and so you know, I'm kind of I'm quite looking forward to getting some more in there. But there's no kind of big shocks or surprises here. But they're quite nice, you know, made for the Return of the King starter set. I think they stand up all right. As you can see, I've already based them, and I have with sand and rocks, and I've sprayed them lead belcher, and I am going to be following, as ever, from my Minas Tirith, Steve Crow, my brother-in-arms, my BSIME brother-in-arms, Steve Crow's wonderful How to Paint a Warrior of Minas Tirith video that's over on Top Table Gaming. I will try and put a link down below if anyone needs it, but it should be easy to find. I basically follow that, and just with a few slight amendments, and it produces a really, really, really nice finish on these guys, and I'm looking forward to it. So 2 more, lovely stuff, and these guys. So there we go. That's going to be my first batch of models. As I said, it's currently Tuesday, and I'm hoping, I'm going to be optimistic and say, and give myself a target and say I want these guys to be done by Sunday night. And if I can manage that, it'll be a job well done, and we'll be well on track for the next projects to come. So wish me luck, and let's get going. Okay, so it's update time, and I am delighted to say that the Minas Tirith Warriors are done. Shall we have a look at them? So here is the finished result. Obviously, I followed Steve's guide again. I'm not going to go through all the colours here. If you want to find out exactly how I did this, you can go to Top Table Gaming, check out Steve's painting guide for how to paint a Minas Tirith Warrior. But I'm pretty pleased. These are classic BSIME models that I'm not too fussed about the finished result. But you know, they're quick and easy models. You know, kind of paint with like one highlight. So like the grey here, for example, I think it's painted Eshin grey, washed with Nuln, and then highlighted with Mechanica Standard grey. So that's what that is. So you know, it's very much a kind of base colour wash highlight type approach. The faces, if we go in there, actually you can hopefully see his eye. It looks pretty good. I haven't corrected any of the eyes, so the eye's got a blob of white and then a blob of black, and then tidied up around them with a dark brown, but I didn't go back to any of them to redo the white or to redo the black or anything like that. I'm just not caring that much at all. The shields kind of were picked out in with silver over the top, but again, not worrying too much about how they look. I just, you know, it's in this wonderfully freeing style of painting I'm doing at the moment, where I think they look perfectly fine for a tabletop standard. But you know, they're not going to win any awards or anything. So these are sort of slightly better than the Mario Goblins that I painted in BSIME style. Just did 2 of those before Christmas, but also a fair few stages worse than my Dale guys I was painting last year. They kind of fall in between there. And there we go. There's the 6th guy. So they're done. And the last thing I just wanted to do before I move on to the next bit is to do a comparison. I know some of our long-time patrons will be curious to see that this is the guy I did, I don't know now, a year and a half ago, so my first set of BSIME Gondor models. And this is the one I've done today, and I've picked these 2 because they are exactly the same pose. And you might notice that, for one thing, just ignore the armour. The armour should look different, but other than that, the colours are a pretty good match. I'm pretty pleased. Like, obviously, you know, the strapping and and the sword handles and the greys all look good. So I've clearly kind of kept them consistent. But this guy here has had the legendary edge highlight. So for any of you, as I said, this is a long-running joke on battle streams here, but Steve's guide is a really great guide, 10 minutes, how to quickly paint a Minas Tirith warrior, that gets you to this stage. It looks pretty good. And then he says, and then just quickly edge highlight all the metal with Stormhost Silver. And I was kind of appalled. I was like, what? What do you mean quickly? This model is all metal. How do you quickly edge highlight the entire model? And so we were joking about it. But then when I came to do mine, I actually thought, these look fine. These look fine as they are. So I didn't do it. And I was doing 12 as well. And the thought of quickly edge highlighting all 12 of those kind of made me feel a bit sick anyway. But so I didn't do them. But with these guys, I did. And part of there's two reasons I did this. The first is that since doing the Minas Tirith Warriors over here on the right, I painted my Osculith Vets, and I just spent a little bit more time on those, and I did end up edge highlighting my Osculith Vets. And so I was like, and I thought it looked quite good, and I was like, oh, that's annoying. And so I decided to try it on these guys because there was only 6 rather than 12. And I have to say, it's not a kind of, oh God, Steve was right, because I always assumed it would look better. But what I would say is he's right in the sense that it is worth it, I think. I do think this guy on the left, so the shiny one, does look better. Look from the back. It really does help the armour pop that little bit more. So I have done it on these 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this 12. I've only got one other one out of the case here because I've got a spearman out just for, I think it was to check the colours of his spear when I was painting the new ones. But I've got these two, as I've got 12 Warriors of Minas Tirith. And for me, and I don't know if this is quick or not, but this quick edge highlight takes 5 minutes per model. I worked out to kind of basically, pop that Stormhost Silver on every bit of this guy. Takes about 5 minutes, but including picking out the kind of detail on the shield, which takes a bit of time. And so, whilst I'm not willing to kind of go and spend, what is it? I've got 12. So somewhere in the region of, it's an hour 20 minutes, isn't it? Yeah, an hour 20 minutes edge highlighting all that silver. What I'm going to do is pick up my 4 swordsmen on one evening and edge highlight them for 20 minutes, and then the 4 bowmen on the next evening and edge highlight them for 20 minutes, and then the 4 spearmen on another evening and do that. So that's how I'm going to catch up. Thankfully I don't have a whole army to go back to, but I'm going to go and grab those 12 warriors I've done and do that. But there we go. So 6 Minas Tirith warriors completed, and I'm very, very pleased with them. Like I say, I'm not pleased with them in the sense of, oh my God, they look amazing, but really, really happy with the standard that I've got for the time I've got. So, what's next? Well, first things first, where are we? I think in the last clip I said I wanted to have these guys done by Sunday night, or optimistically I'd get them done by Sunday night. Well, it's Tuesday night. It happens. It just happens, doesn't it? I had a big work project on that ate a couple of my evenings, but as I said, I'm 2 nights later. But honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's a pretty good result still to have got those done in about a week. You'll remember at the start of this vlog, it's ages ago for me. I think I was filming it over a week ago now. But I was saying that I wanted to get this. I wanted to kind of have 3 projects and do 3 of them all in a week. And where we currently are is Tuesday. And so I currently have 14 days left. So I do have 2 weeks to do my next 2 batches. And the next batch I've decided to do is the knights. I can't remember in that intro bit if I actually set up that I was going to do the knights and the rangers. And I think I would have said that I was going to do the rangers next. But there's a couple of reasons I've decided to swap that. The first one is that I'm actually really looking forward to the rangers. So I decided, and I'm not looking forward to the knights because horses. So I decided to do the knights first. And the other one is, I've just painted these guys, which are of course the same kind of colour scheme and equipment as these guys. So not only is the kind of paint scheme fresh in my mind, but all those paints are all already out on the paint station. So it just kind of makes sense to kind of do those. So these 4 are next essentially. These again, I think I mentioned this in the intro, but these are from Scott Newman. So cheers, Scott. I hope you like seeing your knights that you sent to me finally fulfilling their potential and facing the brush. But again, kind of like I was saying, how excited I was about the rangers in that first clip. I've never really spent any time with these models before, so it's nice to kind of look at them and go, oh, these are good. They're cool faces, they're cool poses. It looks like a really, really good face in there. nice sculpts. Irritating detail to have to pick out on these pennants, but what can you do? I say it's irritating. It's irritating for me because I'm trying to paint these models quickly. It's awesome if you're a kind of good painter or wanting to lavish time on them. And finally, the metal banner bearer, who is coming up on battle streams. I'm sure you will have seen this before he comes up, but he's probably going to be on a stream in February, I think. But I'm going to be getting him done just a little bit earlier. There he is. And look at this. This is hideous. This takes me running, screaming back to that High Elf banner I did. The horrible, horrible banner to pick out all the detail on. And again, it's beautiful and, it's sculpted. So that's brilliant. But it's just the kind of added detail I don't want on my BSIME models, really. It's just the sort of thing that slows me down. So, annoying massive flag to paint as well. But there we go. That's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to start chucking paint on these ASAP and trying to get through them. Now, as I said, got 2 weeks, so I'm hoping I get these done in a week. So like I say, it's Tuesday night. So my hope is that by next Tuesday night, these 4 are painted. But whether or not that's crazily optimistic or incredibly doable, who can tell? I didn't check in with those Minas Tirith guys because I painted them a bit quicker and it just didn't seem to be a sensible time. But I will, again, I'll see if I can kind of stop in halfway through the week when they're all maybe base coated and shaded or something and see how they're doing, to see if we can kind of give you a bit of an update there. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe the next time you'll see these is just another clip like this where these guys are completely painted and I'm about to start my Rangers. So yeah, there's our next task. Get these 4 knights painted in a week, so I've got a cavalry contingent to join Faramir. Wish me luck. Okay, so it's update time. So a bit of a calendar update for you. It is Saturday. It's Saturday. So I'm about to start hobbying for the night. I believe I was recording on Wednesday. Is that right? Either very late Tuesday or on Wednesday. I think they weren't started. And so I've basically had I've had 3 nights. I've had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to work on these. Not as much time to work on them as I hoped, but still decent progress nonetheless. And they are all fully base coated and washed now. So they are. So let's have a look at them. So again, I'm not going to go through the colours of the knights here because they are just stuff I've talked about in possibly in this vlog actually on the earlier bit about Warhammer Minas Tirith, but it's just Steve Crow's guide. So they've had the 2 dry brushes of armour done, and then everything's been base coated and everything's had the wash applied to it. So that's the stage they've got to. The horses, I'm making up the horses as I go. Basically, I don't have a guide, but I just want to do something kind of quick. They were covered in Cygor brown, I think it is, contrast. To begin with, to give them some kind of a bit of definition, and then once the models, the knights, had been kind of heavily dry brushed, they were kind of touched up with, I think I went for Rhinox hide, so they've had a kind of highlight of Rhinox hide, as it were. And normally these are the ones that Scott very kindly sent me already assembled. I think normally he also sent me a box of 6 brand new ones. I think I'll probably do the horses and the riders separately. To kind of save me a bit of hassle on kind of touching up the mess from the dry brushing on the armour. But for these ones it's fine. It feels very B-side to just be kind of ploughing on with them wholly assembled. So that's what we're doing there. And finally the banner bearer. There he is. You might have noticed on the others, if you look at his helmet, there's a bit of skin colour kind of around the helmet. I'm fine with that at the moment because the reason I haven't touched that up is because I'm now going to do the faces. The faces are the first kind of highlight stage that I do. Oh, where's that focus gone? I'm going to do those first and get more paint on the helmet, and then I'll touch it up after that. I just don't think it's worth. There's no benefit to tidying up at this stage, to be honest. So that's kind of where they are. Banner's just had a base coat and a shade in the hope that call that finished. Oh God, look at all that. So that's where they are. And as I said, it's Saturday, so I've now got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday evenings to kind of work on these guys. If I'm going to hit my goal of finishing them within the week, within the kind of 7-day week, I think I can paint on all 4 of those evenings, which is a plus. That's something good. But I'm not going to lie, there's a long way to go. I haven't done these, and I haven't painted a batch of horses in absolutely ages. I really can't remember. It's a very, very long time since I've painted anything more than one horse. But basically, I reckon if I can paint for 2 hours a night, which isn't inconceivable, if I can paint from sort of 10 p.m. till midnight, I reckon these should be done. I reckon maybe 8 hours is enough. It's basically, if it's 2 hours a night and there's 4 models, is 2 hours enough to highlight one of these guys to be finished? And I would say yes. I think the Minas Tirith Warriors, if I was just working on one of them, I reckon I could probably finish them in half an hour, maybe something like that. I haven't timed it because I've always been doing them in batches. So then it's the horse being an hour and a half or something, and that seems doable. A bit of a difference this time is that they do have the pennants. The pennants are relatively detailed, so they'll need a bit of extra time. And of course, I've got this banner. Let's not ignore the banner. That is a relatively large amount of work. I'm not going to slave over it because it is still a BSIME model, but I want it to kind of look alright. So that's kind of where we are with them. And obviously, as much as I am free to paint, it doesn't mean as ever that I'm going to get to that amount of time. But I reckon maybe if I can put about 8 hours time into these guys over the next 4 nights, they'll be done. So we'll see. But that's going to be my my current challenge. I'm going to try and put 8 hours in and see if I can do it. So I'll probably either come back to you on Tuesday or after 8 hours. I might, if I don't do the 8 hours until Wednesday or Thursday, I might come back then and sort of see where we've got to. So we'll see. And the last thing to say on these is about the horses. I don't know how I'm painting the horses. I chucked on a dark brown, the Sigil brown. I've done a Rhinox hide highlight, and I hate painting horses as much as everyone hates painting horses, but I just want to do something quick. I don't want to slave over this, and I just don't have time to kind of do a test model. So I think my current plan is to do a highlight. I've deliberately kind of tried to do something like a contrast to sort of, can you see these almost highlights here, to kind of see the natural colours. And what I'm getting through this is that's a kind of very pale orangey browny red. So I'm currently messing around with the idea of, did I have 3 colours? I think I'm thinking kind of Scrag brown or Doomball brown, possibly even Mornfang, for a kind of highlight. So the plan is to like nip around all the bits really quickly and kind of do a highlight with those colours. Then use Sigil brown again to shade it, and then use Rhinox hide to kind of do a mid-tone to blend the two. That's the kind of painting approach I've been taking to things recently, and it seems to work. So I'm going to give that a go. And fundamentally, I kind of believe whether it looks great or not, it will look fine for my BSIME Army Minas Tirith Knights. But that's what I'm going to go with. And I actually think what I might even do for a bit of fun, because it really doesn't matter, is maybe I'll do one of each of these. Maybe I'll do try each of these colours out and to see how they and then kind of shade them in the same way and see how they look. And kind of go from there. So it basically means that the horse flesh only, he hopes, has 3 coats to go. It's got a highlight, then a shade, then a mid-tone, and hopefully if that looks alright, we'll call it a day there. So there we go. Like I say, part of me in a way is tempted to just get one of these now and try and paint it over 2 hours and see if I can do it and paint them one at a time, but I think I probably will do the batch paint approach, and we'll go from there and see how we get on. But yeah, I'm enjoying them. They're lovely models. I really like them, and I am enjoying the process. So onwards and upwards, and hopefully we'll hit the target of finishing these by Tuesday. Alright, so it is kind of unexpected update time, because as you can probably clearly see, I'm not sure how well they show up, but the nights aren't finished. And you were possibly expecting to hear from me in either 8 hours time or in 4 days time on Tuesday night. But as it is, whilst these guys aren't finished, this guy is finished. So I decided to do something a bit different. I think last time I spoke I mentioned how much I wasn't looking forward to painting the horses. So I decided to get around that by just painting them one at a time. And so I just focused on one knight and just did the highlights on him. And so this is the finished result. So let's just have a look at how my knight's going to look when they're done. And we can hopefully see his face in there. Pretty happy with that. This is just a standard Warrior of Minas Tirith, like just how I've painted all my other Warriors of Minas Tirith, so nothing fancy there. The difference with him, of course, is that he has the pennant So the pennant was just painted in exactly the same way that the cloth was. So I think that's Eshin Grey shaded with Nuln Oil, highlighted with Mechanicus Standard Grey, and then the decals were picked out in white. And then I did, just to kind of, because it was such a large element of the model, I did just do a brief Dawnstone highlight. I think you can kind of see it just in here. You can see the kind of paler grey. I did that a kind of Dawnstone edge highlight. And in that lovely way I tend to do on my Osgiliath, on my BSIME Gondor army when I get into it, I just decided to give the greys a Dawnstone here. So I did it on my Osgiliath vets. I didn't do it on my warriors. But I've just decided to put a Dawnstone highlight on here just to make the greys pop a bit more. So it's again just that case of me kind of really enjoying working on these guys and just deciding to put a little bit more effort in than I planned originally. So who knows if I'll ever... I've got a Warrior Tirith here. When I go back to those other warriors and do the edge highlight on them that I talked about, I might be tempted to just nip in and do a quick Dawnstone edge highlight on the cloth because it really won't take very long. But yeah, so it's nice to see how much I'm enjoying the process really, and kind of up in the standard. And of course the other big thing was the horse. So fairly easy stuff on the head. I painted the eyes in, I'm not sure how well this one came out. Painted the eyes in just as I would if they were human, with white and a little black dot, a shabty bone teeth, and a tongue. I think I did 2 layers. I think it was Tuskor Fur and Bugman's Glow, or the other way around, whichever one's darker. I think last time you'd seen it, I'd chucked Cygor Brown contrast back over this, and I just dry brushed it up, I think with Corvus Grey. The hair here was highlighted with Corvus Grey rather than dry brushing, just so I didn't make a mess of it. The straps were just done in exactly the same style as the straps on here, so that's over the, it was is it, I think it's right, is it Rhinox hide base? It's Dryad bark base, I think, shaded with Agrax, and then Baneblade highlights, which I liked the pale kind of cream. I think it contrasts well with the horse flesh, and the horse I'm really pleased with, and it was quite easy. I think last time I mentioned, I said I was going to do, did I say that there'd end up being 5 layers? I think last time I'd seen this, I'd painted it with Cygor Brown, and then I'd highlighted it with Rhinox hide, and I thought I was going to highlight up with one of those 3 colours like Scrag Brown, then shade back down with Cygor, and then do a mid-tone. And as it was, I only did 2 of those things. So I did I did a highlight with Doomball Brown, and then a mid-tone with Rhinox hide. So this is 4 colours. A base colour of Cygor Brown, then a kind of highlight of Rhinox hide, then an upper highlight of Doomball Brown, which you can kind of see here in these kind of ready highlighted pages, and then I glazed it back down with Rhinox hide, and I'm really happy with it. It didn't take too long, and I think it looks pretty cool. And then I put black Templar over contrast over their legs, just to try and do the socks, to do the dark socks. I think maybe that's gone a little too dark, a little too black, but who cares? I'm really happy with it. So there we go. That's the finished knight, and I'm really happy with him. And yeah, I'm very excited. It was fun to basically work him up. But of course, the question on everyone's lips is, whilst the knight's finished, how are we doing in terms of time? So we have 1 knight finished, but it is Sunday night, so we should be 4 hours in. It's the end of painting on Sunday night, and we are 2.5 hours in. Unfortunately, 2.5 hours in, I just didn't quite get enough. So I've only done 2.5 hours, but I know what you're thinking. 2.5 hours and 1 night finished, Damian. Well, that's dreadful news, because that means he took 2.5 instead of 2. But no, because for reasons I can't explain, I just kind of went with the flow. Whilst I was painting this guy, whenever there was a quick stage to do on him, a really quick stage, I did it on all 4 of them. So I would consider, like, not a quick stage was the edge highlight on the armour, not a quick stage was like doing the greys everywhere, but if there was ever a tiny little bit of paint that needed doing, I did it on all 4. And the reason for that, beyond the kind of timing thing to let the kind of paint dry on each model, was also that you don't want to waste the paint on the palette, basically, you know, because you get a blob out and you've actually got enough on there to do all 4. So if we go and look at this guy, you'll see that, for example, the knight's face is done. So the faces on all of them are complete, which is no small job. You know, that's white and black for the eyes, dark brown to tidy up the eyes, and then 2 flesh highlights and a flesh shade. So I'm pleased with that. And also, the horse's faces are done. You see, like the not the skin, but the eyes and the teeth and the tongue are all done on there. And I also think the gold's done. The gold's had its highlight because there was a tiny little touch. But as you see, if we go in here, nothing else. So the armour hasn't been highlighted, the hair hasn't, the horse flesh hasn't. This has been dry brushed, I did manage that, and the hooves were painted in grey. So that's the other bit. So there's a kind of a bunch of stages. Same with this guy, if we go and have a look. Horse, face details painted, his face details painted, gold done, and this done, but nothing else. So actually, it's really hard to tell how much time that was, but I'd say probably at least an hour maybe has been spent across these models in total. So this guy certainly isn't 2.5 hours and may in fact be closer to an hour and a half or something. So it's actually very, very positive news. So whilst I've only managed to do 2.5 hours over the last 2 nights instead of 4, I've got 2 more evenings before I hit my kind of Tuesday deadline to see if I can paint any more. And I'm basically going to be picking up one of these guys now. I'm going to do them one at a time and see if I can paint him in an hour and a half. That's the plan. Can I highlight this guy up in an hour and a half? And if I can, I'm confident of getting, I don't know, at least 2 of them done, if not 3. By the Tuesday deadline. So there we go, 2.5 hours in, and hopefully next time I see you it'll be Tuesday night and we'll be another few hours in, and at least 1 more, maybe 2 more of these will be done, but we'll check in on Tuesday. But overall, very happy, very pleased with how my finished nights are looking, certainly for the BSIME army, and I'm actually quite pleased with that horse flesh in general, to be honest. I think I might kind of stow that recipe away somewhere because I think it looks quite natural and it wasn't too painful at all. So yeah, that's how we go, and I think, as I said, next time you see me it will be when they're complete, one way or the other. Alright, let's go. Okay, and I am very happy to say that my nights are finished. So here is the finished effect from all. I don't think I've shown any of these off. I've been doing them basically one a night and finishing off one every evening, but I think I showed them off in kind of photos in the hobby vlogs rather than, sorry, not in the hobby vlogs, in the patron chat rather than on here. So I don't think you would have seen the finished effect, but here we go. These are the finished guys, which I'm pretty pleased with. Like I said, sorry if I'm repeating stuff on here, but you film everything out of order in these things. I decided to, once I base coated them all, I decided to highlight one a night. So I basically just kind of worked for each one, maybe for about 2 hours on one evening, and just finished one off rather than trying to batch paint them, and found that actually a very, very satisfying way forward. Made me feel like I made real progress on a single model every night, which was cool. And then last up we have the banner bearer, who's obviously coming up on the stream soon. I'll spend a bit more time just looking on that. His banner was sculpted on, but it was still a bit of a pain, all these lines here. It's one of those ones where I kind of fussed and agonised over about it for a while, and I was like, hang on, it's just a BSIME model, it's just your BSIME Gondor army, it doesn't matter. I think it looks alright. It looks alright from a different distance, but I didn't want to struggle too much in it. But yeah, this is the guy that, in a way, started it all, I suppose. He's the first night model. So there you go. So, obviously, for the most part, these are just my Warriors of Minas Tirith scheme. I've pushed them a little bit further, as I think I've mentioned at one point, that they now have a Dawnstone highlight on the grey. So I've pushed the grey a little bit further, and as a result of this, my BSIME Gondor army is getting a bit better, because I'm now going to go back and re-highlight the Dawnstone on all my Warriors of Minas Tirith. So on these guys, for example, when I decided on these last 6, I've actually done the Dawnstone on these. I've gone back and finished these guys off. But if you remember when I started painting these, I did the edge highlight on this, and this made me go, right, okay, so I need to go back to my first 12 Warriors of Minas Tirith and do the edge highlight. And then since I've done these guys and done the edge highlight and then done a Dawnstone highlight, I now need to go back to these guys and do a Dawnstone highlight on the cloth, which I've done here. So it's quite kind of cool to see me I don't know, making this speed paint Minas Tirith army that little bit better. But I think that's it. I genuinely think that's it. I don't think any other areas are getting more layers. But yeah, that's how they'll end up. But yeah, so we had that. The pennants were obviously new, exactly the same as the cloak, ending up exactly the same as the cloth, ending up with a Dawnstone highlight there. And then the only other big thing was the horses. And again, apologies if I've said this as I went, but the horses were basically done by the whole thing was painted over a white undercoat, Cygor brown, dark contrast brown. Then once I'd done all the dry brushing over them, which had made a mess, I used Rhinox hide to kind of highlight up and kind of cover it up. And then I highlighted up with a bright colour. So you can see here, you can hopefully see just the very, very kind of tips of this have a kind of reddy hue to them. And let's have a look at this one. Now I truly don't know which way around it is, but let's have a look at how this guy looks. He will be a slightly different reddy hue. See that? Maybe in here you can see slightly more kind of oranges. And then this one will be a slightly different reddy hue. And what's cool is I don't know which way around they are, but they're 3 different colours. I think this is the brightest. So I think this is Scrag brown, and then one of them's Mornfang brown, and one of them's Doomball brown. So it's just 3 different kind of reddy browns, I guess, that I used to highlight up. Then once I'd done that, I used Rhinox hide again, watered down Rhinox hide to kind of glaze the horse flesh back down, and actually that left me with a result that I was really pleased with. I think this is the Scrag brown is the brightest, which is the one I was least happy with, but even this one I'm pretty pleased with. Then all the hooves were painted Eshin grey, and then just the socks and the hooves were just done with Black Templar. I just chucked Black Templar over those to kind of darken those down. I did the knight last, and I think I went for my favourite one on that, which I think was Doomball brown. Could have been Mornfang. I really don't mind. Really don't know. But do you know what? That was a relatively quick and easy way of painting horses that I was pretty pleased with, and gave me a result I was really happy with. And then the hair was just tidied up with Cygor brown over that base coat, and then it was dry brushed with Corvus black here, and picked out with Corvus black on the mane, and that was it. The only other thing we've got here is the straps, and they were just done. Like the kind of straps around the knight here, which was kind of just a over the dark brown, a highlight of Baneblade brown. And then I used Dryad bark just to kind of paint in a kind of dark shadow, just to dull them down a bit, sort of under here, in there. You can see the sort of detail I put in on the faces. I think I showed you the horse faces before, possibly. But there we go. So those are my 4 knights, and I'm really pleased with them. Really happy with how I got them done. Really pleased with getting the horses on. I've got another 6 of these in the backlog to do that are coming up hopefully in the first half of the year, and I'm not dreading doing them, to be honest. I think I was quite pleased with how I got through these, quite pleased with the speed and the kind of techniques I've come up with, and it's nice to have a little mounted contingent for Faramir to lead for my army. So yeah, that's cool. So all finished, all feeling pretty pleased with it, which should allow me to move on to the next step in our January Gondor Odyssey. Alright, so here we go with the 3rd and final part of the vlog, and we're on to the Rangers. I believe I showed you this stick of joy right at the start of the vlog, which was a couple of weeks ago now. The Rangers I was really excited about, but I've stuck to my guns, and I've got the Warriors done first, and I've got the Knights done first. So I'm excited to plunge into this. Now again, forgive me, I can't remember all the what I've said in all the different clips as I'm recording them, but the hope was that I would have a week to do these before the last day of January. Is it the 31st of January? Is that right? Next Tuesday. But as you saw with the Knights took too long. And so as it stands, it is the Knights are now finished, but it is Thursday. It is Thursday the 26th, and we're about to kind of embark on these, and I'm done painting for Thursday 26th, I should say. So I finished that last night, but I'm filming this now, ready to crack on with these tomorrow. It's probably worth saying that now to get them done for January and get them into January's numbers is all but impossible. Let's be quite frank. That means I've got 5 nights worth of painting: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I am away for at least one of those nights, so that is at best 4 nights painting, and I'm not going to get 8 ranges done in 4 nights. There's just no way. So to quote that old bloke, there never was much hope, just a fool's hope. So whilst I will try, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try and do as much painting as I can. I'm not holding out much hope now, so I'm going to extend my targets. I've still got something to aim for until the Friday. So rather than trying to get them done for Tuesday the 31st, I'm going to aim for Friday the 3rd of February, just to give me another few evenings. It'll be the end of a week. So they won't count for January, but they, they'll still get done. Hopefully, only a few days late. So yeah. So all in all, still pretty happy with how the project's going. I'm essentially only running 2 days late, which isn't too bad. But these are the complete variable, these guys, because I haven't painted these before, so I don't actually know how long they'll take. So I'm hopeful that I can paint 8 of these in a week, but I really don't know. But we do have the stream. I have the stream tomorrow night. So in the future. As I record this, and in the past for you will have seen me working on these guys on the stream. I think it was episode 76, the terrain one. So I've got a nice chunk of painting time tomorrow to get on with them, and we'll go from there. But also what I have to do is pick which 8 I'm going to do. And for the utility of it, the first thing is I'm going to go for the spears. So that gets me this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. But also my next criteria was small ones. Look at this guy. He's still human sized, but this guy has less to paint than this guy. This guy, dreadful. Look, all his limbs extended, like fingers out here, long limbs, very bad. He's not coming to play. But this guy, delicious. Look, he's barely got any legs, any arms. It's all, or any cloak. It's all lumped in together. So he's definitely in, and Crouchy McGee over here is definitely in. And then I think beyond that, they're kind of much of a muchness, so I'm just going to go for the poses I like. I do really like quite a lot of them. I think the running spear guys here is cool. I think this archer's cool. These 2 running ones are cool, and those 2. So I think they're the 6 I know. So Crouchy, the 2 running ones, Shooty, the 2 spears, and this guy. I think that was 7. So 7 of those, and then I'll just pick one, and I might go on for the difference in the base model, because it's always interesting when you look at these closely to see how they duplicate the bodies. So you can see here these 2 have got exactly the same lower half of the body, and then even the jacket is the same, and then it's the kind of arms that tend to change, I think, and then the heads. Then over here you can see that these 2 have got exactly the same bottom half of the body, and it's the arms that change. And this, where is he? This guy, actually. So this guy and this guy are exactly the same body. And then the crouching one, if you look here, look at where his knee is. Look at where the little bits of the jacket are over here. It's exactly the same as this. And then you have these 2 here. Exactly the same bottom halves. And this one here and this one here have the same bits. So it's one of those things I don't think you notice when you're looking at them from a distance. When you get the models in hands, it's kind of like, oh, that's quite interesting. That's quite clever Perry Brothers. But they do on quite a lot of the Lord of the Rings sprues. But the wonderful thing is that what's a good example? Let's say this guy here with the bow and this guy here don't look anything alike, and that shows you the difference that a war gear and the face can make, despite the fact they have exactly the same kind of legs and body. But it's cool. So yeah, I'm going to pick 8 of these and then crack on with them and try and get them done. So I think unless something goes terribly wrong and I kind of forget to film, I definitely think I'll be checking in with you kind of halfway through the process, just to see what day it is and how I'm getting on and all that sort of thing. But that's about it. So yeah, I'm genuinely still excited about this. I'm a bit annoyed that they probably won't get done in January, but what can we do? I'm looking forward to painting some Rangers at long last, and adding the next step to my BSIME Gondor army. So on we go. Hello. Right, it's update time. Wow, what a week. As memory serves, the last time I spoke to you, it was I think it was the Thursday. I think it was the 2nd of. Is that right? No, sorry, the 26th of January. It's the night before the stream, and I was just about to start work on my ranges. And my plan at that point was to... I was trying to get them finished by the following Tuesday, which was the 31st, to get them finished by January, and I was thinking, I probably haven't got time to do that. And then Battle Streams regulars might be able to put the pieces together and know that what then happened was we had the stream, the really crazy stream, was it episode 76 possibly, one where I kept getting cut out, and then Steve had to run off and fix the ceiling and all that. So we had that on the Friday night, and I was starting work on the ranges then. And so that's kind of the last you saw of me, even though it wasn't in this video. You know, there was a little update in there, and then I had basically 4 days to finish those ranges. But instead of doing that, I got sick, and I mean really, really sick. I don't have to talk about this, obviously, but to be honest, these vlog things are kind of therapeutic, and I like kind of looking back on them in years to come, and the idea that you document this stuff. I've been ill, man. I got really, really ill, and I'm not saying it's that stream that did it, but on that Saturday I woke up feeling a bit achy, just a bit achy, like achy joints. I was like, oh, that was a bit weird. And then on Sunday I woke up unable to move. I was in excruciating pain. If I tried to move anything, and my hips, my knees, my shoulders, my wrists, agonising pain, like nothing I've ever felt in my life. So that was nice. I did COVID test, and it wasn't COVID, but it felt like, you know, when you get joint pain from flu, it felt like the most extreme joint pain I'd ever had. And so I was laid up in bed all day. Monday, exactly the same. So I was off work, dosed up on just your normal painkillers. And then I woke up feeling the same on Tuesday. I had a fever as well, and I was like, this isn't right now. Like 48 hours of this. It's crazy. By this point as well, we'd gone home to visit some friends. So I was staying at Mum and Dad's house, and Emma brought the kids back. So it's a really surreal situation. I was like laid up in bed at Mum and Dad's, and I rang 111 on Tuesday morning, and they said, you need to go to the hospital, you need to go to A&E. So I went into A&E, and I had 12 hours in A&E. That was delightful. God love the NHS, it's on its bloody knees, but the people there were lovely. Really love what they're doing. And if you bear in mind then that by the end of that 12 hours, I've basically been up for 18 hours. I'd had 4 hours sleep the night before from the pain, basically. And I was pretty delirious at the end of it. Like, you know, it was midnight. I was quite close to tears. There's delays. And eventually, about 10 p.m, the doctor came around and looked down my throat and said, your throat's heavily inflamed. And I was like, okay. My throat hadn't been hurting at this point. And I got diagnosed with a throat infection. And they described it as a severe inflammatory response to a throat infection. So I got some nice antibiotics, and I was like, this would do this to my joints. And I'm like, yeah, it could do. And I was like, right, brilliant, hooray for the throat. So I got a 7-day course of antibiotics that did immediately help with the joint pain, but didn't really help with my mobility. I've been hobbling around like a 100-year-old man, really unable to move. It's been crazy. Even when the pain was gone, I couldn't move properly. And that's gradually returned. And then as a result of the throat infection, my mouth, my immune system got low. My mouth got full of mouth ulcers, and I mean all the way to the back. I've had a GP look at me and said, all the way to the roof of your mouth, all the way to the back is just like a war zone of ulcers. To the point where for the last sort of 4 days, it hurts to eat anything. It hurts to swallow water. It hurts to just swallow air. To be honest, you know, when you're swallowing, and it's been agony. It's been bloody miserable. It has been categorically the worst. I think it's fair to say the worst health week of my life. Like I've never experienced pain like it in my joints, and then the eating thing. I've cried whilst trying to eat scrambled eggs. It's been a pretty bleak time, if I'm honest. But today, which is now Tuesday the 7th, so it's basically a week after I was meant to kind of update you, as it were. I'm meant to be finished. I've finished my antibiotics. Today's the last day I'm taking them. And also potentially my mouth feels a bit better today. So I think I'm on the road to recovery. Now, of course, you dream of when you're that sick and when you're that ill, oh, I'll be off work and I'll get those done. But I just couldn't do anything. Like during the day, I was so dosed up with drugs, I was sleeping all the time. So during the day or whatever, I didn't have hours and hours for hobby. But I will say this, at one point with a handover of the kids, Emma sent me back to Mum and Dad's a care package of hobby stuff. So I did manage to get my Rangers done, mainly in the evenings. I'd have these periods of lucidity, sort of from about 7 p.m. onwards for a few hours. And so I got to do some painting in the evenings, and I did get the Rangers done. So it's a week later, as I said, it's the 7th. I didn't get them done in January. But I have managed to get those 8 Rangers completed during my sick leave, as it were. And so what I'm going to do now is head over to the desk and show you those completed Rangers. And here we go. Here are my 8 Rangers completely finished. I don't think you've seen any work in progress for these. I think the last time you saw them were white, but that's because I've been away home as I just filled you in, being sick. But yeah, they are now done, and let's have a look at them. Here we go. Now I'm going to be utterly honest about this. I'm not that happy. You can blame this obviously on being ill. As part of it possibly, and like not really enjoying the process and so on and so forth, but they didn't come out quite as well as I hoped they would. But if I show you, I've got 3 basic colours. I've got the dark green for the cloaks, I've got the light green for the tunics, I've got the brown for the kind of leather armour, and I've got this kind of creamy colour in here, and that's basically it. They are still even my basic warriors here, oh, where's he gone, do get eyes, so they've all had eyes painted in, but they've not I've not spent any time tidying their eyes up. Their eyes basically got the kind of white blob, black blob, and then tidied up with brown around it. None of them got a second attempt at an eye. And I want to give a massive shout out to James Barrett, because it was his colour scheme that I followed for this. James Barrett did a phenomenal, he's one of our patrons, he did a phenomenal version of Faramir, the new Faramir that I'll put up here. And it looked exactly how I wanted my Rangers to look. And so he kindly sent over his colour scheme, and I tried to emulate it, and it's clearly nowhere near as good. Now, who knows quite what that is? There's a lot of mixing of colours involved, which could lead to it. And also maybe James is just a better painter than me, but nothing quite landed how I wanted it to. So thanks for the effort, James. Your stuff looks outstanding, and alas, I wasn't quite able to emulate it. But to run down how I did this, and again, none of this is original, this all came from James. The green cloaks here are a base of Caliban green, then it is a mix of Caliban green and Warpstone Glow as a highlight, and then a mix of Caliban green and Lauren Forest as a highlight. Let's go on to a different one. The tunic, which is this green in here, this paler green, is a Castellan green base coat with Athonian camo shade as a wash, and then a highlight of Lauren Forest. Pretty cool. The browns, we can see browns pretty well on this guy. So this kind of brown leather effect is a base of Rhinox hide, then a mix of Mornfang brown and Rhinox hide, and then a final highlight just of Mornfang brown. I was pretty pleased with that actually. The brown leather came out quite nicely, I think. I've done that on the wrist pads here as well. And then the final bit is the kind of creamy cloth, which again, if I'll show you on this guy because you can see quite a lot of it, which is, so this area here, this is a base coat of Dryad bark and XV88, and then a highlight of a Shabti bone. And I will say I then added an extra colour to this, which is I then shaded it back down with Steel Legion drab. It just looked a bit too bright to me, a bit too cream. Maybe I'd been too heavy-handed with the highlight, so I just used Steel Legion drab to kind of shade that back down. I don't think I've shown you those last two. So those are the kind of 4 colours that I pinched off James. I'm pretty happy with the faces all in all for warriors, given that I didn't put any time into them at all. Once I've done those 4 colours, what else did I do? The spears were just the same. The spears and metals and flesh were just the same as all my other warriors Minas Tirith. So spears are base coat Rhinox hide, washed with Agrax, and then highlight of dried bark. And I also put a Rakarth flesh highlight on some of these things, some of these bits here. If we go and get something like this, they have a lot of detail on this kind of brown chest plate, and I just wanted, rather than it all being brown, I just wanted to bring a little bit of it to life. So the straps got a Steel Legion drab kind of highlight, and then the kind of little bits of what look like a thread or whatever that is, and these pouches got a Rakarth flesh highlight. I did the same on the quiver. I'm not particularly happy with the quivers. I think the quivers have been a bit too heavy-handed. I'd probably like to go back down again with Steel Legion drab and kind of just dull that down a bit in there. But I can't really be bothered. It'll do the job. This is the last guy I haven't shown you. Oh, and there's a final colour needed there for the trousers, which I think was just the standard grey I used for my Minas Tirith. So whatever that was, Eshin grey, Mechanicus standard grey, and Dawnstone. So there we go. So there they are. They're fine. They're pretty good. They don't quite look right. They look very basic. But what suddenly occurred to me, whilst I was getting a bit disappointed, was, hang on, these are BSIME models. These BSIME models for your BSIME Gondor army. This isn't your new Dale army. These are armies. Literally, the reason I did this colour scheme was I was just following someone else's colour scheme. I didn't do any test models. I didn't practice. The whole point of this army is to get it painted for fun and to get it painted quickly, and I certainly did that. I mean, it's not quickly in terms of days, obviously because of my illness, but in terms of painting time, this was pretty quick. I wasn't really timing this. I'm not sure, but these painted up very, very quickly in the end, quicker than I thought they would. So I'm pretty happy with them in that regard. Pretty happy with the models I chose. The 8 that I've decided to go with. They were a decent sized batch, and now I know I've just got another 4 plastics in the backlog to do it at some point, which is very, very achievable. There we go, he's the last one. This adds some Fight 4 to my army, which would be nice. Obviously I can get there with the boost from Faramir for the some of the special rules, and but it's nice to have a bit of base Fight 4, and I got some spear supports in there as well. Only 4 of them. But there we go. 8 Rangers of Gondor, ready to join my little army. Thanks to James for the inspiration. Even if it didn't come out as well as yours did, it still meant that I didn't have to think about the painting process. I just followed it through, and it really did feel like following a Battle Games of Middle Earth guide, like as I have done in the past, things like Elrond and Isildur, where it's like I don't have to think about this. I just follow the guide, and once I finish the guide, it's done. And yeah, that's how I approach these. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result, and happy to have them done. So there we go, 8 more Rangers. Calais. And just before I head back to the desk and sign off, I couldn't help myself, but how cool does this look? This is the results of this vlog. This is my, not quite January, but let's say the first kind of 5-6 weeks of the year. And this is my little Gondor battle force I've painted up, all for my BSIME Gondor army. So I've got the 8 Rangers I've just shown you, the 4 Knights that you've seen in some detail recently, these Warriors of Minas Tirith that were the first things finished you would have seen earlier in the vlog, and Faramir. I say they were the first things finished, that's not true, is it? Because Faramir was the first things finished, so the first model of me here. And this is just, I love this. Obviously I've got some other stuff, my BSIME Gondor army. I've got another 12 Warriors of Minas Tirith, the banner, Faramir on foot, and 6 Orthgiliath vets. But this feels like I've bought a kind of start collecting box or something for Christmas, and I've got it done. So some basic warriors, some basic knights, a hero, and some cool kind of slightly different models in the Rangers. And I'm really happy. This is what I set out to do in the vlog, and seeing it all set up in front of me is pretty mega. So yeah. Pretty cool times. I'm very excited. Managed to get everything done, albeit a bit later, and now I'll head back to the chair and sign off this vlog. So there we go. 8 completed Rangers finished, not within the timeline I expected, but I think I'm pretty happy to have got them done, given how sick and ill I was. Basically, it has completely, to be fair, it's completely destroyed my my plans, my preparations. But there's just nothing you can do about that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was me. As I said, I've just talked you through them there. They're models that I'm not particularly pleased with, but I'm happy to have done, and they're BSIME models anyway, aren't they? They're for my BSIME Gondor army, so it's all good. So yeah, my 8 Rangers are done. So yeah, very, very surreal times here at BSIME Towers this week. I have to say it's been a strange old time, but hopefully things are starting to get back to normal. So, with that in mind, we can look at how we did, because that's the kind of end of the vlog. I set out at the start of the vlog to paint Faramir, I did the 6 warriors as well, didn't I? That was yeah. To get Faramir done, to get the 6 warriors done, to get 4 Minas Tirith knights done, to get 8 rangers done. My plan was to do that in this vlog, and I've done it. It's done in this vlog. My plan was also to do it in January, and I didn't quite manage that. So I'm about a week and a half behind, basically. I wanted ideally to be done by Friday the 27th of January, and it's now Tuesday the 7th of Feb. But we're about a week behind, but the models are done, and that's cool. And that is now, it's not all the warriors I'm ever going to do for my BSIME Gondor, obviously. There's still lots of bits and bobs to come in the future, but that's the models that I'm going to paint towards my GT army. And so I now need to write an army list together, get an army list, and get that all submitted, ready for to see what I'm going to take to the GT. But that's going to be more on that. Excuse me. More on that in the next vlog. But the last thing we have to do in this one is let you know how we did in January. So our January numbers. And of course, our January numbers do include anything from Christmas. Christmas was just my Secret Santa this year. So that is Ingold and Huron, courtesy of Mr. Lewis Woods, thank you so much. Ingold and Huron was 3 models, 3 Citadel Guard was 3 models, and then he got me some ruins as well. So 6 models that I'm really, really keen on. Hoping to get those Citadel Guard painted as part of my BSIME Gondor army this year. So 6 models I really wanted, and not many models for the backlog. Brilliant, top work. And then I also got kind of 3 I think it's fair to say completely unexpected models this year, this month. Sorry. The first of those was in one of my more extravagant purchases. I needed this. I might have talked you through this, I think, when I was talking about the colours, but I needed a part of Warpstone Glow for my range. I needed it quick, so I didn't have a chance to get to a GW. So this is $3.75, I think, isn't it, or $2.75? I need to make it up to 40 quid to get for free shipping. So I did. I saved money by topping a paint pot up to 40 quid. And to do that, I bought a Mordor Troll Chieftain and Boromir mounted. That is efficient, because that is getting to 40 quid but only adding 2 models to backlog. Now, before anyone kind of kicks off about how needlessly pointless and extravagant that is, they are both models I wanted. The Mordor Troll Chieftain's been on my kind of, I keep a list on my phone of kind of models I'm in the market for at some point, should a decent deal come up or something like that. And Boromir mounted just got added to the range at the end of last year, I think. He came back in. So there were 2 models there that I've wanted for a while that I've kind of got relatively... Boromir's just going in a box somewhere. He's a one-day project. But the Mordor Troll Chieftain, I feel like I might paint next year. I've got kind of medium-term plans for him. And it was just that sort of thing. It was like, okay, there's 2 models there. I know I do want them. And it's only 2 models to backlog, so I picked those 2 up. So that's been quite good, quite cool. So I got those, and I also picked up a metal ring wraith on Fellbeast, the classic 2 towers one that I was after. And one of our patrons, Jamie Wiggins, gave me a very good deal on a metal ring wraith on Fellbeast, and I was really, really pleased to snap it up because he did me a decent deal. And it was super, super rare. And then I think like the day afterwards or something, the made to order went up where that ring wraith is going to be on it. So crazy scenes really. But it's now freely available. But I'm still very happy. I'm happy with the price. And as of yet, we don't know the price. And it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Jamie still would have charged me less than it will actually cost. But it doesn't matter because at the time I was happy to pay the money. So yeah, I bought those 3 models. So in the end, I've got 9 new models in January. But painting went very well. I did get Faramir done, I did get my 6 Warriors and Minas Tirith done, and I did get my 4 Knights done, so that's 11 models. Now I've also painted my 4 Rangers, but they were done in February, so as per my rules, they'll be in the February total. So that's cool, because going into February I've already got 8 models painted. But yeah, so we start the year off with 9 models bought, although only 3 of those are bought, 6 of them were for Christmas, so pretty pleased with that. And 11 models painted, which I'm very, very happy with. It's like one of those crazy things. It's like I'm only +2 models up and I've bought 9, so it's not that great. But maybe it's all psychological and I'm messing with myself. But there's a lot of extenuating factors in that, in terms of like the Rangers already being painted, and the fact that I can't control anything about the Secret Santa and that sort of stuff. So yeah, feeling very positive. 11 models painted in the black, and 9 models added to collection. And of those 9 models, what am I going to do? Let's say, well, to be fair, I'm only probably going to do about 3 of those 9 models this year, but who knows where the year will take us. So there we go. That is the end of this hobby vlog. It's been a weird one. It's been a long one. I think I must have been working on this for the best part of a month, presumably, to get all the bits done. But I hope you enjoy it. Weird illness affected ending notwithstanding. If you are enjoying it, please make sure you leave a comment below. I love to hear from you guys. It really does. It's the most important thing in the world. It's more important to me than subscribing or liking or anything like that. Please, if you've watched this and you've enjoyed it, leave a comment. Let us know what you liked about the video, and get involved in the discussion. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. We do have a Patreon scheme if you're interested, and we now have our affiliate link down below for 7th City. So if you've got any exciting new purchases coming up, then please use our friends at 7th City Collectibles using the link below, and you'll be getting a discount on the regular prices, and you'll be giving the channel a little kickback as you do it. So there we go. That is it. That is a whole selection of BSIME Gondor painted up and ready to go to war at the Warhammer World GT. And I will be back in, I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks with another hobby vlog looking at my final preparations for the GT and any final models I might need to get painted. And I can't wait to see you then. Until then, we'll see you next time on Battle Streams in Middle Earth.